And today I'm going to be describing the game that I had to make for Dr. Burleson's class. So the name of the game is Guess the Correct Horror Movie Quote, or the Hangman Horror Movie Game. It's an extension to the word game we did in class, except we put more audio and sound, which made it a little bit more complicated, but it made it a little bit more fun. So let's get into it right now. So here we go. Let's run it, see if it works. So you can see the music starts playing. You can see the fonts that we use for Guess the Horror Movie Quote. And let's go ahead and enter the letter. So let's go ahead and try. Let me move myself out of there for a bit. Let's go ahead and try putting a letter. H. Correct. You hear the sound. Let's go ahead and try putting an incorrect letter. We'll go ahead and put in D. Incorrect. You hear the sound. You hear the sound. So let's go ahead and do a validation. So let's go ahead and enter another H. We already entered it. Let's see what it does. Oh, it was right, so it didn't do anything. But when it's incorrect, you get a repeated guess, because you obviously don't want like the user to get that counted off of them because they already tried that letter. It wouldn't be fair. I'm running out of time, so let's go ahead and enter a question mark. We get an input error, and let's go ahead and enter 2Ks. You get an input error because it's not a single letter. So we go ahead and exit out of that because we don't want to spend too much time on that. Alrighty. So the part of the code that I was in charge of is right down here. This function right here, I was in charge of it. So basically, I was in charge of protection against erroneous inputs of gameplay. So what was I in charge of? So limiting the user to input to single characters. So the game only expects a single character letter as an input. We can do this by introducing checks to ensure that the input consists of only one letter. That is right here. We're going to go into it right now. I'm just explaining the main checkpoints that I hit, and then I'm explaining the code that I use for them. So we ensure that the input is an alphabet character. So you can add a check to ensure that the entered character is an alphabet character, not a number, a symbol, or anything else. And we can avoid repeated incorrect guesses. So if a user enters the same incorrect letter multiple times, it shouldn't count against them. We can add a check for this as well. So what do we do? So error handling with conditional statements. By using if statements, these right here, else if, we can check for various input errors and respond appropriately. So to prevent the code from further processing like invalid input. So we inputted these to like create a loop that will help with errors created. So we used MATLAB string and character functions like length, isLetter, and isMember right here to allow for specific checks on the input to ensure to meet the game's requirements. So this one checks for the guess letter. They all check for guess letter. Whoa. Nope, I'm not gonna mess that up. So they all check for the guess letter function. As you can see, they all have their individual checks. So also feedback with the message box, really important. The message box right here tells the user what they're doing wrong. It like lets them know, it shows them on the screen what they're doing wrong so they can stop doing it. So that's really important because it's what communicates with the user, basically lets them know what they're doing wrong. This is starts the function, reads the function, communicates with the user what they're doing wrong. And finally, the most important part, this right here, which is the early exit with return. If an error is detected, the return statement provides an early exit from the submit guess callback function. This prevents the subsequent code from executing, which would process the guess. So this returns the user back. It gives you the error and it returns you back, so you could keep playing the game. Without the return, the game would essentially break because it wouldn't take you back. So you would stop with the error. So that's why this is really important. We call the function, we retrieve the guess letter from the input right here. We check if the guess letter is in the selected phrase with this, and boom, our validation runs afterwards. The if statements, the it was what reads gets letter, the message box, and then return. So that's what I was in charge of. That's what I did. That was my part. So yeah.